Good morning. Thank you for joining me today for Monday morning devotion. I thought it would be good for us to finish up our last lesson on the fruit of the Spirit with taking a look at how Jesus displayed the fruit of the Spirit as he made his way to the cross. We first find him in the Garden of Gethsemane, and in the garden, he is praying along with his disciples and the closest three disciples not far away. He's praying on his knees before his Father. He's praying in anguish, knowing that not too far in the distant future, he would face betrayal, misunderstandings, rejection, ridicule, abandonment, hostility, persecution, angry people, verbal and physical assault, an unjust system, and basically losing all he had, including his dignity and life on the cross. In the garden, Jesus remained steadfast in love, joy, and peace. A love, joy, and peace that compelled him to die willingly for sinners like you and me, and not give into his own physical or fleshly and emotional desires. When he prayed in the garden, 3 times he prayed this prayer, "Not my will, but thine be done." He displayed love for you and me. Hebrews 12:2 tells us, "Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." Out of peace in his heart, after praying 3 times on his knees in the Garden of Gethsemane, he told his disciples, "Let us be going." He had resigned to all resistance and surrendered his trust in the Father's plan. Note, his circumstances did not change. The transformation did not happen in a snap of a finger. 3 times he went back on his knees to pray. And often we need to go to our Garden of Gethsemane, however long it takes. Jesus also in the Garden of Gethsemane showed patience, kindness, and goodness. Outside the garden, Jesus is suddenly surrounded by his traitor, Judas, the mob of people who wanted to do away with him, and with his disciples nearby who immediately or very shortly thereafter fled, leaving Jesus alone. In the garden, he operated out of patience. He endured when he was injured by others because of his interest in their own good, their salvation, and he did not seek revenge. He does nothing. He says nothing. And he even rebukes Peter to tell him to put his sword away. In the garden, Jesus operated out of kindness. He continued to go ahead and plan with his plan to die for mankind, no matter what he was facing or what was happening. In the garden, he even operated out of goodness, and he restored the air back on the enemy of the person that Peter had injured with his sword. He committed no sin. He was faithful to the purpose of his Father. He was faithful to his decision to die on a cross for you and me. He said he would do it, and he did it. In the garden, he showed great gentleness. And meekness. He did not open his mouth or defend himself. He spoke only truth. He did not curse them or say things that were hurtful. He just stayed silent and only answered when the question needed an answer. When they asked him if he was the Son of God, and he said, "I am," that's all he said, because it was truth. He was the I am. And of course, that meant a lot to the Jewish people, because from the Old Testament, they had heard many times Moses was told to say, "Just tell them the I am that I am has sent you." So that declared himself as God. But he was meek, and he operated, of course, under great self-control, when they hurled their insults at him. 1 Peter 2:23 tells us that he did not retaliate. When he suffered, he made no threats. Instead, he entrusted himself to him who judges justly. To react and respond is something that you and I might do, but Jesus, when he went through all that he did not utter threats. He did not condemn his aggressors or invoke judgment upon them or call 10,000 angels to deliver him. He kept his mouth closed. Isaiah 53:7 is a picture of him and a prophecy of what he would go through. It says this: he was oppressed and was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. Jesus was faithful to the cross for you and me. He was meek. He took the suffering for you and me. He maintained self-control through all the insensible things that happened to him for you and me. In closing, to walk and live in this sinful world like Jesus, displaying the fruits of the Spirit identifies us with him. It unknowingly points others to Jesus Christ. These fruit, living and being displayed in us, make us different from the rest of the world, and sometimes even the rest of the church and people in the church that we serve God with. When we allow the fruit of the Spirit to be active in us, our witness for Jesus is real. We cannot live this way out of our own strength. We must learn to lean on him and walk according to the Spirit. As you celebrate this Easter week, may you remember what Jesus did for you and how he displayed the fruit of the Spirit through every step on his way to the cross. Have a blessed week, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next Monday.